Some of the best villains around also managed to get the best alternate reality variants. That's just how it goes. I'm Adam Andrews with Top 10 Nerd, and this is the top 10 villain variants more powerful than the original. Kicking off the list at number 10 is the Doom above all. Dr. Doom, being one of the most popular Marvel supervillains, has a vast array of alternate Earth variants that are wildly powerful. The Doom above all isn't really above them all. We have seen other more powerful Dr. Dooms like the God King Doom or Doom Supreme, but the Doom above all has just had some awesome moments. His history was extremely similar to that of regular Dr. Doom until Loki wiped out all life on Earth 14412. But this is Dr. Doom we're talking about. Doom wanted to grant himself all the powers of the prehistoric Avengers, and so he did, obtaining the Starbrand, Iron Fist, the Eye of Agamotto, and Cloak of Levitation, and becoming a Spirit of Vengeance. This Doom basically became a god and was able to survive for eons and eons until Thor Odin's son had become the All-Father, grown old like Odin, had 3 granddaughters, and restored life back to the Earth. Now that life had been restored, this Dr. Doom came to claim the planet with a team of massive monsters like Fing Fang Foom and Goom, and he comes into battle with Old King Thor and an Old Man Wolverine with the powers of the Phoenix. Eventually, Logan sacrifices himself to grant Thor the Phoenix Force as well, and then Thor and this Dr. Doom fought each other inside the Earth for like 90 years until Thor came out on top. But then, even though this Doom lost, he then became a living planet as well, and he was among the many Doom variants who worked alongside Doom Supreme in the Avengers Forever storyline. Number 9. Ultimate Green Goblin. If you thought Norman Osborn was a malicious evil little sucker in the regular Marvel Universe, well, apparently he's like that everywhere, including on Earth 1610, the Ultimate Universe. Except here, when Osborn tried to create the Goblin formula, it gave him the ability to turn into a massive hulking green goblin monster, eventually at will. When he was the Goblin, Norman was even more superhumanly strong than he is in other universes. He could run faster than cars, was highly durable, and could launch literal balls of fire and energy, and could even absorb fire and energy from other attacks, like when the Human Torch's Nova Flame just made the Green Goblin even more powerful. If it wasn't for the fact that he was a complete and utter monster set on destroying everything that Peter Parker held dear, this Green Goblin monster would be kinda cool. Like, in a good guy kind of sense, kinda cool. If that makes sense. The thing with this Goblin over the 616 version, other than a massively expanded power set, is that he actually succeeded in his mission. He successfully caused the passing of Peter Parker, while 616 Osborn was successful with a number of his schemes, but I don't believe he ever actually truly beat Peter Parker. Not really. Number 8. King Killmonger. The Destroyer armor is something that I always forget exists. It only appears every now and then, and it's always a huge deal when it does, but I am so used to it only appearing in Asgardian related stories, so needless to say, when it showed up being retrofitted for the Black Panther villain Killmonger in Avengers Forever as part of the Multiversal Masters of Evil, I was more than happy to be taken by surprise. We get a better picture of this villain's story in issue number 6 of Avengers Forever. When T'Challa was still just a wee babby, this Killmonger the Destroyer destroyed Wakanda, single-handedly putting the Wakandan gods under his thumb and turning the country's warriors to ash. Killmonger was traveling the multiverse from Earth to Earth, Wakanda to Wakanda, destroying every version of T'Challa that he could find, except for the one that would escape to become the Sky Spider, the Vibranium Man, and eventually the Star Panther. King Killmonger would travel on his ship alongside his War Panther mercenaries, using his Destroyer armor to level entire cities and entire planets. As part of the Masters of Evil, he was a pretty intimidating foe. Number 7. Ultimate Universe Loki. Loki, Laufey's son in the main Marvel Universe, is a pretty dastardly devil. He's always got schemes on schemes and is just doing what gods of mischief do best, using his sorcery. But he's also somewhat redeemable. The Loki, Odin's son of Marvel's Ultimate Universe, on the other hand, is kinda just a madman, but one with the ability to warp reality. He could retcon history into anything he desired by either creating events that never happened or erasing events as if they never happened. He could create copies of himself, change the color of the skies, render himself near impervious to harm, even from Thor's hammer, and summon armies of monsters. And one of the first things this Loki does while a member of the Warriors 3 alongside Thor and their brother Balder is visit his giantess mother, steal the Nornstones, and completely take the life of Balder. He then took on the guise of Baron Zemo during World War II and led an attack on Asgard with frost giants, Germans, and some super soldier Germans that he created. This got him banished to the room without doors. But that's just what he planned from the start. He was eventually freed from the room, and unlike his brothers who had been reborn as mortal men, Loki was still a god, and an incredibly powerful one at that. He would be one of the main threats faced by the Ultimates when they formed, but was eventually depowered by Odin because it's Odin. He's just over the top. But speaking of Odin, number 6, Ultron with the power of Odin. Ultron is one of the many examples of why the idea of artificial intelligence is so scary. He has become almost completely unstoppable, and in Ultron Forever, which was an arc that took place during Original Sin, Ultron gets himself an unexpected level of power. The arc features the present-day Black Widow and Vision being transported to the 25th century. In this timeline, a strain of Ultron known as Ultimate Ultron was able to defeat and dispatch the Avengers, eventually turning the heroes and anyone who tried to resist into cyborgs, like unwilling servants, or into his own AI Avengers. But if that ain't enough on its lonesome, Ultron found a way to claim the powers of Odin and become the king of Asgard while also wielding the Infinity Stones. Needless to say, this version of Ultron from the future is more than just a threat. He's scary, and I don't like it. Number 5, the Batman Who Laughs. While the Batman Who Laughs was Bruce Wayne from Earth -22 of the Dark Multiverse, he basically becomes the most powerful alternate version of the Joker. Everything about this Batman remained relatively the same until the day the Joker found out he was going to pass away, and he decided to take everyone else with him. Joker took down a large number of Batman's rogues gallery, including Catwoman. He caused the passing of Commissioner Gordon, and he paralyzed Batman, forcing the Dark Knight to watch as the Joker took the lives of innocent people. Now, once Batman regained his movement, he lost it and put the Joker to rest. As his one last sick joke though, a toxin in the Joker's heart escaped his body, infecting Batman and turning him into the most terrifying Joker-Batman hybrid that we've ever seen. With all the intelligence and physical ability of Batman mixed with the insanity and psychosis of the Joker, the Batman Who Laughs is off the chain. He has a book on how to destroy the multiverse, as well as a real-world comic book that lays out the structure of the universe. He has a pack of metal cards that can warp reality. He has a pack of feral Jokerized Robins and can corrupt people to his side with his Joker toxin, like Shazam as an example. He wiped out all the heroes of his universe and several others and put together a squad of evil Batman who he used to become one of the biggest threats in the multiverse. Scary, not fun. Number 4, Mazaz. When we first ever meet Mazaz, he is described as the most powerful superhero on Earth 3, the home of the sinister JLA, the Crime Syndicate of America. He was for a long time the biggest threat the Crime Syndicate of America ever faced, and he has taken the lives of a lot of the CSA's members using his superpowers. So this Alexander Luthor was just a regular guy, as much as a Luthor can be, until at some point in his life he figured out how to take the powers of superpowered beings. It seems that the first person who lost their power and their life to Alexander was Will Batson, Earth 3's Billy Batson, which gave Alexander the powers of Mazaz, to call down dark lightning, transforming him into a more masculine being with superhuman strength, durability, flight, electrokinesis, and presumably magic. When he first shows up, he has already stolen the powers of a hero called Hawkwing, who we don't know, but he also goes on to gain all the Kryptonian-like powers of Bizarro, plus kryptonite immunity, the Firestorm Matrix powers of Deathstorm, Earth 3's Firestorm, the super speed abilities of Johnny Quick, and more and more. While the characters he fought were arguably worse than him, no one from Earth 3 is really good, and he is absolutely terrifying. Number 3, Hunter Prey Doomsday. Doomsday was created on the planet Krypton as the ultimate life form, tested against that planet's harsh environment and eventually against the Kryptonians themselves. Doomsday's whole life cycle involves it being killed and then coming back stronger than whatever took it out. Over decades, that involved literal thousands of passings. Doomsday Doomsday essentially became a nearly undefeatable monster with no other thought process beyond destroying everything in front of him and moving on. After being the first ever being to ever take the life of Superman in Superman/Doomsday, Hunter/Prey, these two get a rematch. Doomsday has made his way to Apocalypse, and he is tearing the place to shreds, even facing Darkseid himself, totally tanking his Omega Beams and beating the snot out of the ruler of Apocalypse. It's in this story that we learn of Doomsday's past, and it's here that he evolves to the point of literally being unkillable. He cannot be defeated, and anything that tries only manages to empower him further. Superman has to get help from the time-traveling hero Wave Rider to trap Doomsday at the literal end of time in order for him to win. This is just regular Doomsday, so I'm kinda cheating by putting him on this list, but the monster got taken to the end of time in order to defeat him. That wasn't even fully enough. So I think he gets a place here. I think he deserved it. Number 2, Emperor Joker. The 5th dimensional imp, known as Mr. Mxyzptlk, has an extreme level of power. If this power fell into the wrong hands, it could potentially be reality ending. And we know this because in the Emperor Joker story, it falls into possibly the worst hands you can imagine. The Joker's. Mr. Mxyzptlk gets bored and wants to give Joker 1% of his power just to see the tricks the Joker is able to pull off, but instead, the Joker tricks Mr. Mxyzptlk into giving him 99.9% of his power instead. Joker uses this power to rewrite all of reality to become his sick, twisted dream world. It's horrific. He eats the whole population of China out of a Chinese food container box. He keeps everyone else stuck in a time loop, most importantly, Batman, who he introduces to the afterlife and reintroduces to it over and over again every day forever. He turned Flash into a slow-moving obese man and put Superman in a loop of constantly breaking out of Arkham Asylum. Superman, the Spectre, and Mr. Mxyzptlk, being the only ones who can remember the former world, team up to try to do something about this all-powerful Joker, but that's just the problem. He is all-powerful. He destroys all of reality, but as Superman points out to him, the Joker still can't bring himself to destroy Batman fully. He knows that he needs Batman to have any kind of meaning for existing in the first place. Because of that one small little thing, he loses control of his power, allowing the Spectre and Mr. Mxyzptlk to steal it back and fix all of reality. And finally, in at number 1, it's the Age of Apocalypse Magneto. In the reality of the Age of Apocalypse, Magneto leads this world's X-Men following the passing of his close friend Charles Xavier at the hands of Xavier's own son David Haller, who traveled back in time hoping to end Magneto, but basically missed. This Magneto, who has become a good guy in this universe, and his X-Men fight against the forces of this world's Apocalypse, who, without the interference of Xavier, was able to take over North America. Now Magneto's team is composed not only of classic X-Men, but also includes mutants like Sabretooth and other not so good guys. You know what I mean? Like kinda morally, In this timeline, Magneto is married to the mutant Rogue as well, and together they have a son named Charles. That doesn't make this Magneto more powerful or anything, but I think it's worthy of noting. Magneto and his son Charles are later personally captured by Apocalypse himself, though they are rescued by Rogue and the other X-Men, including Nate Gray, who raid Apocalypse's citadel in a desperate final attempt to save all of reality from Macron crystallization. There's a lot more to this story than just Magneto, but we're focusing on him. This Magneto isn't actually more powerful than his regular self, but thanks to the alternate history, he manages to be one of the best versions of the character, and honestly, the end fight between Apocalypse and Magneto is so awesome. Magneto literally uses his power to tear the celestial technology out of Apocalypse. It's so cool. But that's all I have for you nerds. I'm Adam Andrews. Thank you so much for watching today on Top 10 Nerd. I will catch you all in the next one. Peace out, nerds.